I want to be a doctor, a scientist, a book writer, or travel around the world. Have these thoughts ever crossed your mind, but instead you get a chuckle and underestimation from people by saying, "You're dreaming too high." If that sounds familiar to you, then you are not alone here. And yes, it feels like a stab in our heart. From dreaming, it turns into doubting ourselves as we shout in the middle of the crowd and no one's listening. Today, I want to talk about how we, as the youth and the young dreamers, can dare to dream in a doubting world. So first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Satya Dewi from the University of Warmadewa, Bali. And today, I'm going to bring up a topic with a title, The Power to Begin. So ladies and gentlemen, every day we dream of becoming something. I remember when I was a kid, I had so many dreams. I would say that I was changing my dreams every single day. Sometimes I want to be a teacher because I saw my teacher every day at school. Sometimes I want to be a doctor like my sisters. Or as simple as scrolling through social media can change my dream to a world traveler. I want to go to Paris, New York City, Italy, etc. Yes, we are young and we have a bunch of dreams to accomplish. But have you ever been judged not only by people out there, but by your own family? That's not realistic. You dream too high, they say. And I'm done with it. If dreaming of being something can be judged, then what about the actual actions that we're going to be doing in the future? This is where self-doubt develops. One day, I was scrolling through my TikTok page to pass the time after a full day of classes. But guess what happened? I get anxious. Why? I saw people my age becoming delegates in the UN. Yes, the United Nations. It's crazy that we are young, yet we have the power to become something we want without any judgment from people or our own family. At that time, I was thinking, wow, what have I become at my age now? Not too far away from that, do you ever feel low after seeing your friends on social media doing things they like, but you are not doing anything in your life? Yes, this is where self-doubt develops even more in us as youth. In addition, in the world full of judgments, being a dreamer is getting way harder when you know that many of the youngsters don't have privileges, stable internet connection, supportive families, or money for education. Have you ever seen on the internet that young people are trained to work with their families instead of being at school? Sadly, thousands of young people's dreams have been buried, and they don't know when it will be possible to happen. And lastly, the silent battle we fight every day is our mental health condition. The pressure, the expectation, the overwhelming that has become anxiety, stress, depression are carried by the youth as their mental health is still not talked about enough by family or even in school. So ladies and gentlemen, these are real problems that are happening. There's a barrier between the youth and the dream that they want to reach. Again, how many dreams of young people are buried because of judgments that become self-doubt, lack of facilities, and privileges? So now, what we can do? First, having a dream is something that we live on every single day in our lives, right? But to dare to dream in this doubting world is not easy. Remember when they say, be realistic, or you dream too high? It can feel like a step and somehow unmotivate us from our dream. Now, fight for it by building belief in ourselves. Start with a simple action, yet powerful for us to always put trust, belief, and effort into making our dreams come true. So, what we can do is start a self-journal. Does anyone here love writing and journaling in their notebook? Yes, keep doing it. I love it as well. Write your dreams in a list, draw them, or describe them in detail. It's called manifesting. It is not just for fun, but by doing dream journaling, it's the way you tell your brain to always remember that your dreams matters. Having this as your self-reminder will help you to focus on your goals despite the bad comments from people out there. It might seem simple, yet powerful to do by you and all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, second, create a safe space for you and others to share ideas, stories, and life experiences. How does it work? Well, another simple yet powerful way for you to do is to create a group discussion with your friends in college or the workplace, or even on social media. Having others to share our stories and experiences, we develop our insight about the dream, situation, or condition that we're going through. Because when we talk about having dreams, especially as youth, we may not get permission from our parents, families, or other reasons, right? So by having a group discussion, we learn to think critically about the decision we're about to make based on our friends' experiences. It might seem simple, yet it needs to be done because life is full of consideration and thoughtful action are needed for us as dreamers. Ladies and gentlemen, now we're talking about access. Yes, it is true. We don't have the same opportunity. However, here's the thing. We can turn creativity into power. In a digital world we live in, we can learn and study online. Now we have apps called YouTube, Coursera, or even Canva. These are free and we can use them every time we want. Some contents are paid, but it doesn't limit us to learn and keep studying. Now, what about the youth who lives in villages? Does that mean they don't have a chance to study? The answer is no. Then what we can do is we must go back to community-based learning. We can create a study circle and collaborate with the community by inviting local experts, farmers, or small business owners to teach what they know. In addition, encouraging governments or the private sector to provide facilities, as young people, we can use our voices for other youth out there to advocate for change. So ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you this. If the world says you cannot be this and be that, will you still believe you can't? If the path looks impossible, will you dare to take the first step? Because dreaming is not just for the lucky, it's for the brave. It's for you. The world may doubt you, but don't ever doubt yourself. So that's all for me. Thank you for your attention.